Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome back to Cardiff City World. And it's Friday night, which means it's time for the tactical showdown. We're breaking down the real battle at the Cardiff City Stadium tomorrow. And it's not just about the players on the pitch, but it's also about Brian Barry Murphy versus Grant McCann as they go toe-to-toe with their tactical plans. So this is the tactical showdown. Cardiff City versus Doncaster Rovers. Brian Barry Murphy versus Grant McCann. Let's go. So first up, let's frame it a bit like this, right? Cardiff City sit at the top of League One, 38 points from 18 games, dominant, consistent. Whilst Doncaster find themselves down in 19th with 22 points, they're struggling for a bit of consistency. It's been a mixed season. Cardiff have won 7 of the last 9 home league matches, whereas Doncaster have managed just 2 wins in 9 away games. So statistically, it's a big contrast. 32 goals scored by Cardiff City this season, 17 by Doncaster. Cardiff only conceding 17 compared with Doncaster's 26. So on paper, there's a clear gulf between these squads, but tactics can bridge those gaps. And, of course, football's not played on paper. So let's have a look and let's unpack it all now. So, first and foremost, the managerial philosophies. Let's talk about the architects of these two sides. One side, we have Brian Barry Murphy, a manager who likes his team to dominate possession. He likes to press proactively. He likes to control the tempo, move the ball quickly. Under Barry Murphy this season, Cardiff have played with possessional dominance, but they've also played quite vertically at times when they need to, meaning that they can control the ball, but they are not afraid to get it in behind to try and create chances if they can find an advantage. They press actively off the ball, particularly in the opposition half, looking to force turnovers in dangerous areas and the opposition's defensive third. Easy for me to say. On the opposite side to that, Grant McCann at Doncaster Rovers is a coach who can be quite compact with his defensive organisation, but he likes to play football. He likes to be aggressive. He likes to try to play, and will try to get possession where he can, but is not afraid to go direct if needs be. And whilst Cardiff will work to control this game, McCann's Doncaster Rovers are built. They have a bit of flexibility about them in terms of they can play out from the back. They like to play out from the back. But if they need to, they can go into the channels. And look, being honest, I think a major thing for Doncaster tomorrow will be whether they can defend, whether they can be compact and whether they can defend in numbers. Because if they try and attack in waves and they try and go toe-to-toe with Cardiff, I actually fear for them a little bit. And we'll get to that in a little bit in the why. But the opportunities, I think, will arise for Cardiff through midfield runners. And for Doncaster, I think, it's if they can switch the ball quickly and get it into the channels whilst Cardiff players are out of position. There is a slight sort of philosophical contrast in the way the managers like to play, but not that much. Certainly not as much as what we've seen recently. It's not like possession versus direct in this game. I think, by and large, Grant McCann would prefer to get the ball down and play. But you have to prepare for the opposition. And I believe that if he tries to go into this game and go toe-to-toe with Cardiff and toe-to-toe with Brian Barry Murphy, it could be a problem for them. But we'll just see. You've got to be brave and you've got to take risks sometimes in football to win matches. But let's dive into Brian Barry Murphy first of all. Typically sets up in a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, depending on how you look at it. And then out of possession, it'll be like a 4-4-2. But first and foremost, they press intense. The press intensity will be that Cardiff will press high with midfield runners, triggering different traps around that sort of defensive area. As Doncaster have the ball with the keeper and the defenders, they will look to control the central areas of the pitch, and they will encourage the opposition to play out from the back and get it out wide, and then they'll try and win the ball and turn the ball over. In terms of the central dominance, they'll have a double pivot. This will often combine Ryan Wintle as the kind of destroyer, the number 6, and then you'll have a ball progressor, whether it's David Turnbull, Alex Robertson, or even Joel Colwell. This helps protect the defence when you're in and out of possession, but it allows you to get runners in and around the wingers and the centre forwards from midfield as well. And they also love to play with the wide players. The wingers will have choke on their boots and will look for diagonal switches of play. We will also look now and again, the likes of Keane Ashford will drift in, and then the fullbacks will get in around the outside, whether that's Joe Bagan looking to get to the byline or even Perry NG at times. They love an underlap and they love an overlap, do Cardiff. But statistically, Cardiff have been very strong in the attacking third this season. They've often averaged over 50%. I think it's an average of 61% at the moment in terms of the whole overall possession. But at home, I think it's about 54, 55%. They also have a high shot volume from both inside and outside the box. So when you look at that, Cardiff will create chances. And teams which have generally done better against us have been the ones who've being quite compact and tried to reduce those chances and reduce the opportunities for the runners to get in behind. And if you look for Cardiff to try and overload that midfield, they'll be really trying to force Doncaster to commit players centrally, and then they'll switch that ball to the opposite wing or out to the wing, and they'll do it quite quickly and try and get it out to the likes of Keane Ashford, Chris Willock, whoever it may be, Isaac Davis, and they'll try and get it out to them quick. That's a hallmark of Brian Barry Murphy's plan and the way he likes to play. Create a central superiority and then hit the wingers quickly to get in behind the defence. In terms of Doncaster, look, Doncaster Rovers under Grant McCann can be and have been quite flexible. They've used 5 at the back before. They've used a 4-4-2, and they've also, more recently, they used like a 4-1-4-1, or ultimately, they're all variations of 4-3-3 in a lot of cases. But he likes that 4-1-4-1 at the moment, which kind of prioritises a bit of balance defensively with the back 4 and the number 6. The fullbacks will look to get forward, and he tries to hit you on the transitions. They have pretty compact defensive lines, although, like I said, their fullbacks will look to get forward. The 6 will sit, although they will have their second choice, number 6, in there Saturday with he's injured, I think, or suspended. I forget which one. But Doncaster will probably sit a little bit. I don't think it'll be a low block by any times. I think they'll sit in a mid block. They'll funnel attacks into the sort of wide areas and the channels, and they'll look to try and break Cardiff City down on the transition. Then you'll have direct progressions. When they do win that ball back, they'll try and hit you on a transition fast and often look for sort of long diagonals or vertical passes to get in behind. That's not a bad plan against Cardiff, because Cardiff often, the fullbacks are up. One of the defenders is in midfield. Like, we're very aggressive in how we try and pin teams back. So if you can win the ball back and get it up to your 4 players quickly, it's definitely worthwhile doing it. I think Doncaster, the one problem potentially for them is if they start Billy Sharp, they've got no pace up front on the break. Obviously, they've got a bit in the wide areas and in the 10, but Billy Sharp's not going to win any foot races, you wouldn't think. Doncaster will also have a bit of midfield aggression. Bailey, in particular, is their stalwart, is their leader. And that midfield will be up for a challenge. They will try and challenge for every second ball. They will aim to disrupt Cardiff's rhythm rather than trying to control possession overly. But they do like to play out from the back at times. And that is an area where I think Cardiff can really get at them, particularly with the keeper, which we'll talk about in just a second. This structure is designed to absorb pressure. So they're sort of solid central, the centre-backs, the number 6, and potentially one of the other midfielders dropping in as well, will create that box in central areas and really try to absorb pressure. They will allow their fullbacks to go up, and so Cardiff will have to play around them. There's a possibility, and I know Aaron said on the Doncaster fan we had on last night was saying that he'd like to see him play a back 5 and be a lot more compact, because he's concerned that they'll be a bit too expansive with the fullbacks going forward. And I tend to agree with that. I think that will create massive turnover opportunities for Cardiff if they come out all guns blazing or they're a bit open. But we shall see. I've seen him play both ways, but Grant McCann likes to play, and in his pre-match sort of comments, he kind of said they're going to come out and they're going to take some risks and they're going to try and win the football match, which on one hand, I admire it greatly. On the other hand, if I was a Donny fan, I'd be concerned by that, because Cardiff's 11 and subs, there's a lot of players who can do damage to teams, which leave spaces ultimately. They will try and directly exploit the space behind our fullbacks who are going to push up. We know this. They're going to either, whether they're getting up on the overlap, the underlap, or they're just holding their position, or they're fully inverting into midfield. They can do all 3-4 things in the space of 10 minutes. Brian Barry Murphy is very flexible with what he expects from his fullbacks and his team. So there's no problem with them doing different things and making their own decisions within the pitch, because this team now understands the patterns that the manager's looking to create and the ways that he's looking to get in behind teams. For Doncaster, it might not always be elegant, but I do think there's an opportunity, if they can do it properly, to really be quite effective against Cardiff. You look at their wide players, the number 8 types in the midfield, if they're tasked with covering a significant amount of distance, yes, they'll be asked to sprint both ways and get back into shape after they lose the ball and things like that. But equally, if they get up when they win the ball, that could create some opportunities for them as well. But with a couple of important players out, they've got to set up their first choice centre-backs out and their first choice number 6 is out. I think that could be a bit of an issue for them. Although they have got, like I said, Bailey is a really good player in the middle of the park, and he's their talisman. The first big tactical battle in this game, I think, is going to be the pressing intensity versus transitional threat. Cardiff are going to look to force Doncaster into wide areas, backwards passes, and go back to the keeper. Now, if I was Brian Barry Murphy, I would be looking to target this keeper, and as soon as it goes back to the keeper, I'd be looking for your likes of Salish, Robinson, Joel Colwell, particularly, to really get in and around this keeper. He has got a tendency to hold on to the ball too long. And if you can get in and around him, particularly Joel Colwell, because he's very deceptively quick and he tends to sneak up on people when he's pressing, like they don't expect him to be on him as quick. Same with Salic. And I think that could cause them a lot of issues. But I also believe that Cardiff will need to be careful when committing their fullbacks, their players forward, because if they do sort of lose the ball, they could get caught out of position. The one criticism of Cardiff this year maybe has been when we have turned the ball over, we haven't used it quick enough and got in behind teams, and we've let them get back into position. So I'd like to see us, read the turnover, set the traps effectively, and then use the ball quickly. And look, Cardiff will clamp down and they'll be looking to turn that ball over higher up the pitch and generate turnovers in and around the Doncaster area. But if Doncaster can absorb that, and if they can kind of get the ball into their wide players and their number 10, there is an opportunity to exploit Cardiff, because Cardiff do leave gaps. Cardiff are very open in the way they play because we're so aggressive in the way we play and so attacking. But then looking at the midfield control as well, I think the distribution battle is going to be massive. So Cardiff's double pivot is pretty fluid. Like Ryan Wintle will hold. The rest of the midfield will be quite fluid, and they'll move and they'll rotate and they'll try and move the ball off 1 or 2 touches. And the fullbacks will come up. They'll invert into midfield sometimes and allow the others to push forward. And they try to create those triangles in the central areas to allow them then to switch the play out quickly to the wide areas. It's a trademark of the manager. Rotate, recycle, circulate, and then cut the spaces, and then bang. Whereas Doncaster's midfield is going to have to be patient, in my opinion, and sometimes not chase the ball and hold their shape and hold their just hold their line a little bit and not go just chasing and pressing the ball, because you're playing into Cardiff's hands, right, if you do that. And I think if they can prioritise keeping their shape and winning second balls, then getting those vertical passes up to the wide players and in and off Billy Sharp, I do think there's potential that you can create chances against this Cardiff City side simply because we're so open. And then finally, set pieces. And this is a very, very interesting element of this game for me. As you would have seen Aaron say yesterday, their keeper, his handling has been, I think Aaron, this guy, described it as slippy. I had described it in my notes as quite poor. And our delivery from corners has been really good recently, particularly from Joel Bagan and Isaac Davis. The corners have been excellent, and Amari Kellyman. The delivery from corners has been really good. We look dangerous. Will Fish has picked up a couple of headers. We've had a couple of chances. And I would be looking to crowd the keeper with the big physical centre-backs, Yusuf Salic, etc., and whip it right under the crossbar, because I think there is a weak spot there with the keeper's handling. Cardiff have got a size advantage in many areas of the pitch. They know the timing for corners and free kicks is usually a strength for us. So that is definitely an area, attacking wise, that I think we could be dangerous against Doncaster. Whilst Doncaster's physical forwards, Billy Sharp has been around the block. He knows how to win free kicks. He knows how to score goals. Like, make no mistake, he might be nearly 40, but he knows where the net is. And if you do give him a chance, he will score goals. He will look to get in those little dangerous areas around the near post and look for rebounds and ricochets. And he's a proper striker, a proper number 9. So don't write him off just because of his age. Obviously, as I said earlier, he isn't going to probably win any out-and-out sprint battles. But if you give him an opportunity or a sighted goal, he will be there. Grant McCann has a host of corner routines that they use as well. This has been a weak point of Cardiff's. We've been caught out by corners where the corner taker shapes up to whip it into the box and then pulls it to the edge of the box for a shot. We've been caught out at least twice by that, if not more. And that's an issue. Grant McCann is a clever manager. They'll have a few routines up their sleeves. So Cardiff have got to be switched on, and they have to be aware of it when defending corners. And I think we need to defend corners a little bit better. You've got to be aware to everything: short corners, corner routines, whip delivery, whatever it may be. You have to be switched on. I anticipate that it's going to be Lawler and Chambers at centre back. So you'd like to think that there's a good mix there, but we've got to switch on, and then in the attacking areas, utilise our set pieces to create chances ourselves. To summarise, tactically, look, Cardiff are going to control tempo. They're going to dominate the possession and the midfield. I've no doubt about that. Cardiff are going to try to win the ball high up the pitch. I'd be very shocked if we don't target them with our pressing. I'd be very shocked if we don't target their keeper of pressing and we don't target their keeper from set pieces. But there's a lot more to the game. Doncaster are a side who are going to try to play football. Whether that plays into Brian Barry Murphy's team's hands is another side to it. But that midfield duel will ultimately probably win or lose the game for one side. The ability to manage the transitions is always important in League One. And this is why the tactical showdown matters. This is why we pit the managers' philosophies against each other. This is why we look at the tactical side of it. And I love doing so. But that's been the tactical showdown for Cardiff City versus Doncaster Rovers. I was hoping to get my tactics table out, but I just haven't had the time today to film it. So hopefully that'll come out next week. I'm looking to do a video. We've obviously got to do a video on the XG. We're going to do a video on Brian Barry Murphy's tactics so far this season as well. So that might be an opportunity to get the table out there. We'll be back in the morning around 11 for 3 questions that Cardiff City must answer to get 3 points. Thank you so much. If you haven't already, make sure you check out our preview from this morning. And of course, we had Doncaster fan Aaron Chalonar on last night, where we talked about the game from a Doncaster point of view. And we've had all sorts of unbelievable videos out this week. We had one on Emiliano Sala. We had one on... we had 5 things from the game the other day. We had a recruitment report on... Jabara, and yeah, we got a few, there's 2 bits of content every single day. Cardiff City, 7 days a week. It's what we do. We love doing it. Thank you so much for the support. Keep the faith. Hopefully 3 points tomorrow. Come on, City. This channel is powered by an incredible membership community on Cardiff City World and patreon.com/AcePodcastNation. Becoming a member unlocks exclusive rewards from early access to live event tickets, bonus content, and even the occasional inside transfer scoop when we get it. But more importantly, it allows us to bring you top quality Cardiff City content 7 days a week.
across those 7 days. We're talking match previews, exclusive interviews, instant match reactions, the breakdown podcast, tactical deep dives, the spotlight series, Bluebirds Rewind, Academy Focus, and just so much more. Led by myself, backed by an army of passionate Cardiff City fans, this is content created by fans, for fans, balanced, professional, and 100% all about the club we all love. If you enjoy what we do, then join the community today and support what we are doing as we help to keep Cardiff City World flying high.